So some of the equations that you may see in this unit will involve dealing with these brackets. And so that's going to require that we remember a little bit from the section of this unit on working with polynomials. So I'm going to take you through it, and then we'll try a second example that hopefully will help you know how to manage it. There actually are two different ways that you can work this out. I'm going to teach you one simply because I think it will be less confusing for you to adopt one method. So let's take a look at this. So anytime you have a bracket, it may make sense for you to undo the bracket. So what that involves in this case is to distribute that 2 outside the brackets to both of the terms inside the bracket. So in other words, to get rid of that bracket. So 2 times x will simply give me 2x. 2 times positive 5 will give me positive 10. So I'm going to write that down as plus 10. And that equals 6. And now what I'm left with looks very similar to some of the other questions that we saw on the video about two-step equations, because that's essentially what we have left here. And so my variable is this x, of course. In the last video, we talked about how I'm going to deal with this, whatever's farthest away from my variable, and move it over. And when I do that, it becomes negative. The 6 was there first, and I'm going to subtract 10 from 6, not the other way around. And then I'm left with 2x. So cleaning this up, 2x is equal to, well, 6 take away 10 will actually give me a negative number. I'm taking more than 6 away from 6. I'm going below the number line. That will give me negative 4. Okay. Now, my x is being multiplied by 2, so I'm going to undo that by dividing by 2 on both sides. Make sure my left side still equals my right side. And so x is going to be equal to negative 2. Just remember that a negative divided by a positive will give me a negative answer. Okay, so for the next part of the video, what I want you to do is I want you to try the question and then look at my answer. So let's clear this ink and move on. Okay, so this is a slightly harder question, but I think that you can manage it. Again, we're going to deal with those brackets. And so I can see that the negative 3 is going to have to be multiplied by the 4x. And so negative 3 times 4 gives me negative 12, and there's nothing to multiply the x with, so it gets carried along. The negative 3 is going to be multiplied by my negative 2. So make sure you don't forget about that negative. So I have a negative times a negative, which hopefully you will remember gives you a positive number. So 3 times 2 gives me 6. And the negative times the negative makes sure that that number is positive. And that's all equal to 36. So now what I'm looking at is a simple two-step equation that I need to solve. My variable is x. I'm going to get rid of the plus 6, move it to the other side, and make it negative. And then I'm left with negative 12x on the left-hand side. Cleaning this up, 36 take away 6 leaves me with 30. And now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 12. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. And that will give me, that's maybe one for your calculator. So make sure that you have a calculator handy so that you can complete questions like this. It also helps for you to check with your integers. So 30 divided by negative 12 gives me negative 2.5, and so that is the value of my x in this case. All right, so that's an example of where guess and check is really going to be difficult once you start getting answers that could possibly be decimals. All right, so let's clear that. So that's our last example for brackets. If you need any extra assistance with those, make sure to call me. Major pointers are make sure that if there's a sign, that you're dealing with the signs of your values as well as just the simple multiplication or addition, subtraction.